In one of the most unexpected political reversals of the year, President Donald Trump is now urging House Republicans to vote in favor of releasing the complete Epstein Files, documents tied to one of the most disturbing criminal cases in modern American history. Just days ago, Trump dismissed the demand for more Epstein disclosures as unnecessary. Now, he says, we have nothing to hide. What changed? Who is pressuring whom? And what does this mean for Washington, for Trump's own political standing, and for the powerful names buried in those documents? Today, we're breaking down every angle in a clear, logical, fact-based commentary. No shouting, no spin, just reality, analyzed. But the real twist in this story isn't Trump's words. It's the political chaos that his reversal unleashed inside his own party. Stay with me. Trump's reversal. For months, Trump dismissed the idea of releasing additional Epstein-related material, even though a large portion of his supporters and several Republican lawmakers were calling for full transparency. However, on Sunday night, Trump posted a message urging Republicans in the House to vote in favor of releasing the Epstein Files. His words, "Republicans should do it because we have nothing to hide." This is a striking turn considering his earlier stance that Democrats were weaponizing the Epstein case to distract from his administration's agenda. So why the shift? Reason one, a slow drip of documents. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee had started publishing selected email exchanges related to Epstein. Some of these referenced Trump. Others referenced notable Democrats, including Bill Clinton. The selective release created the impression, at least within Republican circles, that Democrats were trying to control the narrative by releasing pieces of information favorable to their political side. Reason two, political pressure from within. According to multiple reports, dozens of Republicans were prepared to break from party leadership and vote in favor of releasing the Epstein Files anyway. In other words, Trump was at risk of being on the losing side of an internal party vote. So he flipped his position, framing it as a transparency move. But this wasn't just a policy shift. It kicked off a wave of new conflicts inside the GOP, and some of them are getting ugly. GOP civil war brewing. Trump's reversal set off a chain reaction, especially among House Republicans who have been demanding these files for years. House Speaker Mike Johnson echoed Trump's new stance, calling the push to release the files a Democrat game plan, but insisting Trump has clean hands and nothing to hide. But not everyone in the party is on the same page. The Marjorie Taylor Greene conflict. Perhaps the biggest shock was the sudden public feud between Trump and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, usually one of his most loyal defenders. Trump called her wacky, a traitor, and hinted she should be replaced in the next election. Greene fired back, questioning whether Trump still puts America first. She argued that Trump was trying to intimidate Republicans so they wouldn't vote to release the files. This is not a minor disagreement. It's a fracture between one of Trump's strongest allies and Trump himself, and it's happening publicly. Why it matters? Internal division weakens party unity, and on politically sensitive issues like Epstein, unity is crucial. If Republicans split on the vote, Democrats could control the narrative. Trump knows this, Greene knows this, and both sides are now trying to win the internal fight for influence. But the real pressure isn't coming from politicians. It's coming from the survivors whose lives were destroyed by Epstein. Their message to Congress is haunting. In a powerful letter to Congress, several Epstein survivors, along with Virginia Giuffre's family, urged lawmakers to vote in favor of releasing the full files. The letter asked lawmakers to imagine their own children, siblings, or family members being preyed upon. And then it delivered one of the most emotional lines. When you vote, we will remember your decision at the ballot box. This wasn't about politics. It wasn't about parties. It was about accountability for a decades-long network of abuse, trafficking, and cover-ups. Lawmakers rarely receive such direct emotional appeals, and this one is already influencing the tone and urgency of the debate. Epstein's death and the unreleased files. Here's what we know. Epstein died in 2019 in a New York jail. His death was ruled a suicide. Before he died, investigators gathered thousands of interviews, communications, photos, and seized materials. Roughly 20,000 additional documents remain unreleased. These materials could reveal unreported details about Epstein's network, including names, interactions, and overlooked connections. The survivors want one thing: transparency. But transparency is complicated because both political parties have powerful names tied to Epstein's world. Democrats also under pressure. Although Trump is often mentioned when the public discusses Epstein, the latest document releases also referenced several high-profile Democrats. The most notable names include former President Bill Clinton, LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, and economist and former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers. The Justice Department has already confirmed it is investigating Epstein's connections to major banks and certain public figures, including Democrats. Clinton's position: he has consistently denied knowing anything about Epstein's crimes. However, his name appears repeatedly in the broad collection of documents. Reid Hoffman, a major Democratic donor, said his involvement with Epstein was limited to fundraising for MIT. Larry Summers, he expressed regret for having contact with Epstein at all, especially after Epstein's 2008 conviction. This bipartisan connection is exactly why the Epstein Files have always been treated cautiously in Washington. Full disclosure carries political risk, not just one party, but for both. And that brings us back to Trump, whose own political calculation appears to be shifting based on one specific event. What changed Trump's mind? Multiple factors contributed to Trump flipping his position, but one explanation stands out. A Republican Oversight Committee member reveals the strategy. Republican Congressman Glenn Grothman said in an interview with the BBC that Trump believed the ongoing slow-release strategy was causing more speculation, more conspiracy theories, and distracting from other issues, including Trump's budget plans. According to Grothman, Trump's thinking was, let the press go crazy for a couple of days, then move on. This is a classic political strategy. Dump all the information at once so the news cycle burns fast and dies quickly. A tactical, not emotional decision. Trump didn't suddenly decide transparency is important. He decided that controlled transparency is politically safer than drip releases by Democrats, internal Republican rebellion, and public speculation about his own role in severance. By calling for full release, Trump positions himself as confident, open, unbothered, and above all, in control of the narrative, while also reducing the power of political opponents who might selectively release documents. But the vote isn't guaranteed. The Senate may stall it, and that could create an entirely new political crisis. The bill and what comes next. The legislation at the center of this battle is called the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It would require the Justice Department to release all unclassified communications, investigative files, documents, interview transcripts, and seized materials related to Jeffrey Epstein. Where the vote stands? In the House, the bill likely has enough Republican and Democratic support to pass. In the Senate, much less certain. Even if it passes both chambers, Trump must still sign it. And if he signs it, he owns the political fallout, whatever the files reveal and whoever they expose. Political stakes. If the files show nothing new, Trump claims victory. If the files reveal uncomfortable details, both parties may face consequences, not just Trump. Why Congress is nervous. Epstein's network involved billionaires, politicians, bankers, business leaders, and public figures from both parties. Releasing everything could cause PR disasters, renewed investigations, and destroyed reputations, which is exactly why some lawmakers from both sides are quietly trying to slow things down. And that leads us to the final question. What does this mean for Trump, the GOP, and American politics moving forward? Trump's sudden push to release the Epstein Files is more than transparency. It's political strategy. He's facing pressure from survivors, political heat from Democrats, rebellion from Republican lawmakers, and tension with once loyal allies like Marjorie Taylor Greene. By backing full release, Trump is attempting to reclaim control of the narrative, neutralize speculation, portray strength, and force Democrats to face scrutiny as well. But this move also risks exposing powerful figures from both parties. The Epstein scandal is not a left versus right story. It's a powerful elite story, and the American public has demanded answers for years.